There are countless number of YouTubers out there right now that are recommending that when you set up a new campaign in Google Ads that you should never add in a campaign objective. You know, you may have seen some of the videos like these ones.
When you're creating your Google Ads campaigns, never choose a campaign goal.
We need to choose a campaign without a goals guidance.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
The problem with this advice is that it is just plain wrong. And it is wrong on so many levels. And the reason for why this advice is wrong is because adding in a campaign objective when you're setting up a new campaign in Google Ads can be the difference between you seeing those all-important conversions occurring in those first 1, 2, or 3 weeks versus not seeing any conversions in Google Ads for the first couple of weeks, or even some cases the first couple of months. So if you don't want to be led astray and continue to waste money in Google Ads, stick around and watch this video because I'm going to be taking you through, firstly, how those campaign objectives work and why they're so important. And then we're going to jump into a screen share where I'll show you some real life examples and the data that you need to be looking at when you go through and set up those campaign objectives. But right now, let's get straight into talking about how those Google Ads campaign objectives actually work. The most simplest way of putting it is that when you select your campaign objective, you're giving Google a very clear communication about the reason for why you are setting up this Google Ads campaign in the first place. Google will then take that data and use it to target the people which are going to have a more high likely chance of achieving that campaign objective for you. So for example, if you choose the sales or leads option as a campaign objective, Google will then use that information to bid more aggressively when Google sees that a user is using a specific search term that it knows converts for your products or services. And then on top of that, it will bid even higher and more aggressively if that user has current account and search history, which is showing that they are ready to buy and they are ready to buy right now. Versus if you were to use another campaign objective like brand awareness or website traffic, Google would not take into account that user's recent search history. And Google would very much look to achieve what you've told it to achieve in just getting your name out there with general brand awareness or website traffic. And to put it simply, this is where that advice from those YouTubers who are recommending you to right now set up a Google Ads campaign that has no campaign objective falls apart. Because Google has so much data about you and also about me, it would be crazy not to use that data, especially when you're firstly setting up a new campaign in Google Ads. When you've got a newer campaign that's in a new account, you want all of that data that you can use, which is going to help you see those results, so those conversions and those sales for your campaign in the quickest time possible. And right now in 2023, I can assure you that for success in Google Ads, you need to be using that data that Google Ads has on your current clients and potential clients if you want to see success in Google Ads. And this is only going to become more and more important as more and more AI tools are used within Google Ads. And newsflash, they are already being used in Google Ads and they have been for a number of years. So for success in Google Ads, it's not only using your own targeting and optimizations, but it's also leveraging off the data that Google has on your potential new clients. And to explain this a little bit further, inside your Google Ads account, Google stores some core data at 2 different levels. Firstly, at your account level. So this is your total Google Ads account, which contains all of your individual campaigns. At that account level, Google has data in regards to not only your conversion activity. So if this is a new campaign that you're setting up, but you've had other campaigns running sometimes for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, or even a couple of years, Google will have a profile of the type of user and the type of search terms that generate more conversions. So if you were to set up a new campaign and you then add in that sales or leads campaign objective, Google will already use some of that learning into the type of users and search terms that have generated conversions previously that'll be embedded into your new campaign. Now, it's not saying that Google won't carry out further split testing, but it'll use that data as a base to do some extra testing on. But then at that account level, beyond your own conversion data, is that Google also implements what it calls indexed data. And this indexed data is really, really important because what this index data includes is it includes the conversion data from other Google Ads accounts, so your competitors who are bidding on similar keywords or marketing similar products or services. And the reason for why this index data can be so powerful for your own Google Ads account, let's just say you're running a smaller budget. Google only has a limited amount of data to run off that budget. So let's just say your budget was only at $10 a day and you're only generating about 100 impressions a day with about 10 to 20 clicks. That's not a lot of data. But with that index data in your total marketplace for your services or your products, there could be up to 10 million different impressions happening just in your local area on that one day, with thousands upon thousands, potentially tens of thousands of different clicks and conversions. So by using a campaign objective, Google is also taking account of that data and using it to help target the best type of users and search terms for your campaigns. So by selecting a campaign objective, you're also not engaging the data within your own account, but it's also helping to engage that data from within your marketplace. So that's the first level of data which is held in your campaign, so at that account level. And then when you come down to your campaign level, so your individual campaigns, this is where Google has some different data in regards to how your bidding strategies relate to different search terms, relate to different audiences, relate to different devices, and relate to different locations, and also things like time of the day or day of the week. So at that campaign level, that's where Google is then putting into context that account level conversion data, which is not only housed within your own account, as we said, but also that index data from your competitors. So I hope now that you can see the benefit of using this data, because if you're setting up a new campaign and you don't have any campaign level data yet, in order to help get success as fast as possible in that new campaign, until you build up that campaign data like the best performing audiences, devices, locations, and time of day and day of the week, you want to be able to use that account level conversion data, not only from your own account, but also that index data from other accounts, so your competitors that are bidding on those same products, services, and search terms. And just in case this is all getting a little bit confusing, let's jump right into a screen share so I can explain this at a greater level and also walk you through the different types of campaign goals and how you add these to your new campaigns. But before we get into that, just in case we haven't met yet, my name is Aaron Young. I'm from Define Digital Academy and I'm your 15,000 hour Google Ads Master. And if you want to stay up to date with everything new that is coming out in Google Ads, especially in 2023, because there are so many new changes coming down the line with Google Ads, if you want to stay up to date, make sure that you not only subscribe, but you also turn on that notification bell so you never miss out when I release a new video. All right, let's get into that screen share. So before we get into that Google Ads account so that I can show you where you add in those campaign goals, I want to firstly take you through the data that Google has on me. And this will help explain to you and really show you the amount of data that Google has on your potential users. And this is that index data that I was telling you about. If you have that campaign objective, Google will utilize this data that has on individuals so that it can better target your ads. So if you want to see this for yourself, all you need to go to is myadscenter.google.com, and that will then bring up the data that Google has about you. So if we were to go into the ad topics for you, and let's sort it by most recent. So we've added most recent in here, and you can see if I sort it by name, it shows a different level of topics, but then let's go back to most recent. And for me, obviously, because I know what different types of Google searches I've been doing recently, this is really, really scary data. And what it's been looking at is that I have been looking at creating some extra assistance within my own team here that runs this YouTube channel. And that's why I've been looking at the different email and messaging and the job listings. We've also been looking at some real estate options for our new studio. And then I've also got my wedding anniversary coming up later this year. So we've been looking at some different tourist and travel booking services, looking at maybe going on a cruise or some longer rail trips, and then obviously looking at different hotels and resorts. So Google right now has a very, very clear picture on my current search histories. And then if I was to go over to this brand, you can see it's sorted by name. And then if we go to most recent, once again, it's breaking that all down into the different types of airlines and the different types of cruise ships we've been looking at, different types of hotels we've been going through. So you can see all of this data is really, really highly relevant. And that's why I recommend that when we go over into Google Ads, and if you were to set up a new campaign, and that's why I would always be adding in a different objective. So let me just quickly break down for the different types of campaign types and where you would use these different objectives. Now, if you're using a shopping or a Performance Max campaign that has an active product feed in that Performance Max campaign, I would always be using sales. And the reason for that is because that core difference between sales and leads is because sales is very much looking at people who are wanting to buy a product online, whereas leads is more for service-based industries. So if you're wanting to get a form completion, a phone call, or an email. If you're doing shopping or Performance Max with that shopping feed, definitely always choose sales. Now, if you're doing a search campaign and it's in the e-commerce space and you're wanting to drive sales online, or if you're wanting to drive people to come into your physical store, I would use sales. Or if you're a leads-based business, so you're wanting people to inquire about your service, that's where I would then use that leads base. Now, for things like website traffic, product and brand consideration, and brand awareness and reach, these are ones that if I was doing a branded search campaign, I would definitely use one of these website traffics or brand and product consideration or the brand awareness. Or if I was setting up a display or a video campaign and it was very much around just wanting to drive extra people to my website and extra eyeballs onto my ads, these are one of the three that I would be using. With website traffic probably more being for like a search branded campaign, and product and brand consideration more being for display and video. If you had just one video to market or one display creative, that's where I would use this brand awareness and reach. Or if you had a collection of videos and you wanted to especially take people on a bit of a journey about your product, so you might have 4 or 5 different videos where you're going through some different unique selling points or some different benefits of your product, that's when I would use this product and brand consideration. Obviously, app promotion, you're going to be using that if you've got an app campaign. And there's local stores and visits. This was one that was highly used for local campaigns, but now we know local campaigns have been taken over by Performance Max. So I would generally still use, if I was setting up a Performance Max campaign for a service-based industry, I would use this leads objective, but I would then also add in that store visits into my conversions so that I still get the benefit of this local store visits and promotions. And as I said, in no cases would I use this create a campaign without a goals guidance. So that's why it's always highly important that you are always using a campaign objective when you're setting up your new campaigns in Google Ads. But I do want to stress that even though selecting that campaign objective is a really, really important step in making sure that you're going to have a successful and profitable Google Ads campaign, that's not the only step, because what you also want to make sure is that you also want to make sure that you're optimizing that campaign in the right way and going through and checking the right optimization actions at the right time. Because it's not just about going through all of those optimization actions, because right now in Google Ads, it's also highly important that you check those things at the right time. So for example, for something like your bidding, you don't go through and check that every 7 days. You want to be checking that every 60 to 90 days. Whereas for another action like your search term audits, you need to be doing that a couple of times a week, every 72 hours. And for your ad copy tests, you need to be doing that every 30 days. So to make sure that you're doing that all correctly, I want to give you access to my Google Ads optimization checklists. And if you follow that link in the description below, you'll see a link so that you can get free access to my optimization checklist for my search campaigns and also the ones that I've got for e-commerce campaigns. So for those Performance Max and shopping campaigns. Once again, thank you for joining me. And to help you even further, after you've grabbed those optimization checklists, if you want to go through the process of how to optimize your search campaigns, just go through and watch this video right here. Or if you want to see how to correctly optimize your Performance Max campaigns in 2023 using my optimization checklist, all you need to do is to go through and watch this video right here. Thank you for joining me and see you next time.